What is good, guys? We are back at another abandoned airplane. This one, a BAC 111, and this one way more intact than any other one we've ever been inside of. All the seats are inside of it. Most of the cockpit is pretty intact. I've seen pictures, I've seen videos of this. I've been waiting for a little while to get to this one. As you can see from the outside, it is in really good shape. Most of the ones that we go to are scrapped, they're junk. It goes to the plane's parts, go to other places, get used for other things. They end up in a scrap yard and they're just left there to rot. This one on an abandoned farm, just sitting here. I don't know how they got it here. They removed one of the wings. One of the wings is by the road. It's a one-wing plane right now. So we're gonna go inside of here. I can't wait to explore this. Let's just go get it. Cargo area. This is where they used to put all the bags and everything that everybody was flying with, trying to take home or to wherever it was they were going.
Right here we have a Rolls-Royce Turbofan. For those of you who don't know Rolls-Royce, they both manufacture really nice luxury cars, and they also manufacture aircraft engines. And this was a little bit ahead of its time because it's a turbofan, which is more complex than the first jet engines, which were turbojets. Around this era, most of the engines were still turbojets when this aircraft came out. And this airplane actually has a vertical speed of 2,800 feet per minute. So that's actually very fast, especially with aircraft of its time. For an airliner, that is a lot of thrust, and it's a very fast aircraft.
Now inside the plane, guys. Look at this. This is definitely one of the most complete planes we've ever been inside of together. Wow. The cockpit, a little ripped apart. But there's probably a lot more to see here than most that we've been inside of. I don't think we've ever been inside of one that had the oxygen mask inside of it still. That's very cool. I wonder if they needed to be used. I don't see another one on this side, so. And I don't see them throughout the rest of the plane back there dropped. So I'm sure there was an emergency situation here. Haven't allowed smoking on airlines in a very long time. I don't know about these airlines though. They may. I'm not too sure. But I know on commercial airlines they haven't allowed it in almost 30 years now. I'm pretty sure. I'm not exactly sure what any of these buttons do or anything like that, but the last time I was inside of a plane, Max Power, explained it to me. He's here today. I'm gonna see if I can get him to explain a couple things in a little while to us about what's going on inside this cockpit and what this plane actually is, because he's kind of a plane buff, so I'm gonna trust him to let us know and then fill us in about this plane, because he's actually been here a couple times as well. So we're gonna check in with him in a little bit. Explain this bird to us.
All right. So, well, this wasn't down here yesterday. So, basically, there's the co-pilot, the pilot. The pilot sits on the left side of the aircraft, just like when you're driving a car. This control, this center control right here, it's called the yoke. Now, it controls both the pitch and the pitch and roll of the aircraft. So for instance, you want to pitch the nose up, you have to pull back, that points the nose up. Of course, push it back down, you go into a dive. Then these control the ailerons, which is the aircraft's roll. Of course, turn left, or turn right, you roll right, turn left, you roll left. And then these are the rudder pedals. And these control the yaw of the aircraft. And that's how the aircraft moves. It's kind of like a boat. It will steer right or left, but it will not change the position of the wing, just the position of the nose. And of course, you know, those work.
Yeah, this is the one that I've seen the most intact so far. Out of all the airplanes that I've explored, this is definitely the most intact. Like, you're actually moving things that I've never even seen in place before, so that's really cool, man. Yeah.
But yeah, rudder pedals. Of course, you make a coordinated turn, full right rudder, you know, full right aileron. So at the center here, this was the artificial horizon. It's also known as the attitude indicator. It's one of the most important, actually the most important instrument on it. Whoa, is that a wasp?
Looks like it.
Nah, it's a fucking...
Got him.
Interrupted my... Okay, where was I? Yeah. Artificial horizon, most important instrument on the aircraft. Shows you your pitch, your roll. Basically helps you keep the airplane level. Up here you would also have your altitude, your vertical speed, your airspeed, and there should have been something for fuel somewhere in one of these gauges. And then over here you would have more, there would be another artificial horizon, I think right here, and then you'd also have like your hydraulic pressure, you know, basically a whole bunch of gauges that tell you how the engines and the aircraft systems are functioning. Less actual indicators. And then, of course, here you have the throttles. When you push it all the way forward, that's full throttle. You roll it back, and of course you have no throttle. And when you're landing, you can actually reverse the thrust of the engines by pulling it all the way back. This is just the trim. When you're, for instance, if your rudder becomes out of line, you have to trim it back to kind of center it. So basically your rudder is pointing, you know, too far one way. You could use the trim to kind of make that the aircraft's new equilibrium. Same thing for the pitch, and this looks like the roll. Does the same function as this rudder trim. What else do we have here? We have the flaps. Gives the plane more lift, but more drag.
Where's the landing gear?
Landing gear's over here. And of course, these three buttons would tell you if they're green. I think if they're green, I think that means the landing gear is down. If they're red, that means landing gear is up. Yeah. And I think that's pretty much it. These are something that have to do with the engines, and then the APU is the very small engine in back. It's called the auxiliary. It's the auxiliary motor.
Nice.
It doesn't provide any thrust, but it keeps. It's a generator for the aircraft's electricity.
If I ever get lucky enough to get my own personal jet to explore around in, Max is going to be my private pilot. He's going to be my exploring partner inside of that jet, definitely.
Lit.
Looks like somebody made this plane their home. Looks like somebody might have been sleeping here. You guys never noticed anybody here, right?
No, never.
Yeah, so it looks like somebody might have been shacking up here. No more. So is this a commercial airliner, or is it just like kind of like a private type?
So what I'm thinking is it definitely used to be a commercial airliner. It was owned by 3 different airlines who kept buying it and selling it. The aircraft, I think, was manufactured in 1964. No, the aircraft was first came out in 1964. This aircraft, I believe, was built in 1971, if I'm not mistaken. And it was used by like 3 airlines, and then right now it says Rotec on the vertical stabilizer. So, and Rotec is like, it's a company, it's not an airline. So my guess is when the airline sold it to this private company who used it as their corporate jet.
All right.
So the last purpose of this airplane, I think, was corporate.
Yeah, it definitely didn't look like your run-of-the-mill commercial airliner with all this kind of like luxury seating here. I would much rather be in this than the plane I'm going to fly home on tomorrow. So.
No, there's a wasp in there. Rolls-Royce Turbofan.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
What do you think?
Dude, this plane is awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking me here, bro.
No, man. Thank you for coming along, man. We love you in
appreciate it.
Chicago, man.
Yeah, man. Jose, California here, guys. All right, guys. This was a pretty dope Explorer of a BAC 111. This is a pretty... It's really intact. I mean, I'm not going to say it hasn't been destroyed. It hasn't seen its time. I'm not planning on it being back up in the air at any time in its future, but it is awesome to explore these. I really love it when you could see the inner workings a lot more. We have been inside some together, as I said before. They have been really cool, but this is definitely one of the cooler ones. Max got to explain a lot of the stuff inside of here that we were actually able to see this time around, so that was really cool as well. All the seats intact, so you got to see how everybody was coordinated inside of here, and you can kind of tell that it's more of a private rather than commercial jet. I'm sure that they paid, it wasn't a private, but it might not have been one person's, but it might have been one person who rented it out or something like that, and a lot of people that were wealthy enough to fly on a plane like this would have flown on a plane like this. I'm not exactly sure. It actually changed hands a few different times, so the interior might have changed a few different times as well. So, you know, we don't know the very past of it. We only know the last, you know, workings of it. So that's cool. I really like this Explorer. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. We'll see you at the next spot. Peace.